Hi, it's Alex Carling from Seraph Counselling and Psychotherapy. I've just come to do a video for you, those of you that are getting your A-level results today. On my drive into work, I was having quite a strong reaction to all the stuff that was going on the radio, and kind of the DJ saying, I hope you've got your results. If you haven't, don't worry, you'll figure it out. And it made me think about my own academic journey. And I don't normally disclose stuff about myself on my videos for my Facebook page, but I feel that I really want to with regards to my journey in education. My journey in education was not a straight line, and it was not a straight line because I failed my A levels, and to go to university I did an access course, and whilst I was at university I chose to resit my second year due to a life event which impacted my ability to learn, and it affected my grades as well. So my degree actually took me 4 years. And I want to share this with you because if you're in the position where you didn't get the results that you either expected or that you wanted today, I want to reassure you from a professional point of view, but also from a personal and experiential point of view, you'll be all right. If you care about your future and you care about your education, then I think you will be okay. And I want to share my journey with you, but I also want to say, if in 30 years' time you are not where you want to be and you think in your heart of hearts that it was because of your A-level results, then come and find me. I don't think anyone will, because I think you're all going to realise that you will figure it out. Okay, so here's why my academic journey wasn't plain sailing. From school, I went straight to college because we didn't have to stay on like you do until you're 18. So I chose, but more due to please my parents, I think. I went to college, but developmentally, it took me a long time to adjust to the extra freedom that college gives you. At school, if you are late or you don't turn up or your work is substandard, then generally, you get your what they're called when you get your reports home. It's been that long ago. So you get your reports home and stuff. So your parents are always aware. My parents were always aware, and what I did with regards to my schooling was really important to my parents, and they, in the only way that they knew how, I think, encouraged me to do as best as I could. So when I went to college, they didn't get in touch with my parents. If I didn't turn up, the consequence was that I'd get chucked off my course. So I really struggled with the boundaries. I wasn't turning up to lessons and I wasn't producing the standard of work that probably I was at school. And I think that's a combination of boundaries, but also because A levels are probably the most difficult thing that I did academically, actually. I failed them, but they were really difficult in the process. So the boundaries, developmentally, it took me a long while to adjust to those boundaries. I also got a social life when I went to college, and that was something, this extra freedom, again, something that I wasn't familiar with, and I really enjoyed my social life, and I really didn't enjoy studying. Studying has never come easy to me. My circle of friends at school were all really high achievers, and I was really aware that I was different and how hard I had to work compared to them, and I still came out with lower grades than they did. So learning wasn't easy. It wasn't something that I enjoyed, and I was also only there because it's what I felt I had to do. At that time in my life, between the ages of 16 and 18, I took lead from my parents, and if I hadn't have done that, I genuinely don't know what I would have done. I didn't have my own direction in mind. So I literally took their lead. And in that sense then, the subjects that I studied were influenced by them as well. And it meant that I had to change subjects and I chose my own to do, which was a little bit better, but I still didn't really want to be there. I still didn't really want to put the effort in because at that time of my life, that's just where I was at. So after I finished college, I worked for a few years. I worked with children with special needs, And I realised that what I wanted to do, that I wanted to go to uni, and I knew what it was that I wanted to study. And funnily enough, what I studied at university was one of the subjects that I failed at A level. In fact, I didn't even get to sit the exam because I didn't turn up to enough of my lessons, which was psychology. So I studied at Hull University and I did a psychology degree. And as I've already mentioned, whilst I was there, something happened in my life which really affected what I was doing with regards to my studies, and I got support from the head of department, and I chose to resit my second year, and I was fully supported in doing that. And then in 2008 I graduated. So from somebody that did okay at school, that failed my A levels, that took a bit of time out, figured out what it was that actually I wanted to do. At 22 I went to university. I resat my second year, and in 2008, after 4 years of studying, I graduated with a first class honours degree. This is from somebody that studying doesn't come easy to. I literally have to shut myself away and I have to rehearse and rehearse. My revision pattern, or what I went through to revise, was really long-winded, but it was the only way that I was going to be able to learn the stuff that I needed to pass my degree. So after I'd failed my A levels and didn't even sit my psychology A level, I graduated from university with a first class honours degree. Professionally, I want to tell you that you can do that if it's important and you want to. But also, I did it. I didn't ever envisage, I wanted a first class honours degree. You know, I grew up with strong messages that education was important, and that followed me into university, albeit that I was doing it for myself this time. But I never thought that I would get it because studying was so difficult, but I did. The difference for me was that when I went to university at 22, I had direction. I'd worked a little bit and I'd figured out what was important to me and where I wanted to go with it. And I also had support. So my friendship circles when I was 22 were very different to what they were when I was 16 and 18. And I had, luckily, and through difficult times, surrounded myself with people that were really supportive and that didn't encourage me to wander off and the direction that I was taking. And I was more grounded as well. I was more grounded and established my own boundaries. So when I was at college, I was still borrowing the boundaries that my parents put in place, yet they weren't so effective because they did no longer know what I was doing. And I was still riding on the back of school's boundaries as well, that they kept me in line when I was at school, but college weren't. So I had no boundaries established for myself, and I just had free rein and I made the most of it. And college life for me was really enjoyable, when arguably I should have learned, but I didn't, and nothing bad has come of that. If you've just got your A-level results, the age that you're at the moment, you've probably experimented in relationships, and by that I mean your friendships are changing and you've had relationships, intimate relationships, and you have developed a sense of identity, and that's sometimes really difficult to do when there are so many different identities there and so many different messages about what it is okay to be and what you shouldn't be. Emotionally and psychologically, you're just coming out of a really difficult stage, and it's all a really, really challenging time. So if you haven't got the results that you wanted, I want you to feel sad, and I want you to feel the disappointment and stuff. I'm not saying that you shouldn't feel those. The fact that you feel those shows me that you care. But I don't want you to feel consumed by them and think that they define you, because they don't. Not only did I fail my A levels and go and get a first class honours degree in psychology at Hull University, but after that I went and studied psychotherapy in Manchester. And at 35, I have a private practice. I rent my own office. I have my own website. I market myself on social media. I deliver training. I deliver coaching to parents. This is where I wanted to be. It wasn't a straight line and it wasn't easy, but with every difficult task and life event that I had to face, It made me more robust, it made me more committed, and it gave me the tools that I needed for the next difficult life event, because that is part of life. And you can do it. Pressure from parents and people in education, the education system, so like teachers and tutors and stuff like that, is because that's the time of life that you're at. It's all about education, and that will be their focal point. And sometimes you can feel as though that is the most important thing, and it's not, because you don't only get one shot at it. The balance between mental health and well-being whilst you study and whilst you develop as a person, as a young woman or as a young man, is just as important as those exam results that you've got today. So please take my message and give yourself permission to feel the sadness, feel the disappointment, wish that you did differently, and realise that that's a reflection of the fact that it's important to you. But don't think that it defines you. And don't think that you've just blown your only choice. I didn't go to university till I was 22, but at 35, I still consider myself young, and I'm doing what I want to do. And you can too. You'll figure it out. Get the right support and the positive mental attitude to tell yourself that if you want it, you will go and get it. Well done for doing what you've done, and best of luck for your future. Take care.